All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining the EdD and Leadership for Change information session at Fielding Graduate University. If you're watching this recording, you'll be able to learn more about the EdD program, along with getting to know a little bit about the staff and support system that you'll be able to see with in regards to the program. And then a little thing to note too is that if you do watch this recording at a later time and you weren't able to attend a live one, you are eligible to receive a $75 application fee waiver as well. And to receive this, just send an email to admissions@fielding.edu, and the email that you use to start an application or register for the information session, and we'll be able to apply that fee waiver to your record without no hassle. So that way, if you're looking to apply for summer of 2026, fall of 2026, or spring of 2027, or a later term, you won't be prompted for payment for that. But with that in mind, let me go ahead and talk a little bit more about what to expect for this information session and what we'll cover. So with that in mind, we'll be sharing introductions with myself and along with our excellent program director and our newest addition to the admissions team, Zoe Blaylock. Along with that, we'll also talk a little bit more about the School of Leadership Studies, the program delivery of the EdD program, a little bit more about our graduates, what to expect as you go through the program as a student, talk a little bit more about the admissions process, financial aid, and then finally wrap it up with a Q&A for those who are attending live. With that in mind, let's go ahead and have introductions for myself, and then I'll pass it over to Zoe, and then I'll pass it over to Earl to introduce himself in the next slide as well. So my name is Ignacio Vargas. I'm the Senior Admissions Advisor at Fielding Graduate University. I currently live in Ventura, California, live and work in Ventura, California, and Ventura is around 35-minute drive south from Santa Barbara, California, where Fielding's main administrative office is currently located for staff. And one of the things that I really enjoy being here at Fielding as an admissions advisor is being able to kind of hear your stories, your backgrounds, your research interests, and be able to advise like, hey, it looks like this program's a good fit. This program is a stronger fit, and kind of sharing more about the program itself and how they can align with your professional and personal goals. So if you want to have a one-on-one conversation after this, feel free to connect with me on admissions@fielding.edu, and we can always connect via Zoom, via phone, or Teams appointment. But with that in mind, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Zoe.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Zoe. I use she, her pronouns. I'm in Northern California, up in Napa, California, and I am currently a student in the School of Leadership Studies at Fielding. I'm also working to support Ignacio and Earl and the admissions team as, we welcome you to exploring Fielding and finding out if our program is, a right fit for you and what you want to do. So just excited to see you all here and listen and learn along with you. Thank you.
Perfect. And pass it over to you, Earl.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon or good evening. I'm not sure where you're located in the country. I'm Dr. Earl Thomas. I am the program director for the Doctor of Education and Leadership for Change program. I also currently serve as a professor of human development in the School of Leadership Studies, as well as I have an academic appointment as the Malcolm Knowles Chair of Adult Learning. And my career highlights include a lot of higher education leadership and teaching, as well as expertise in early childhood education, adult learning and development, and qualitative and action research. I'm located in the Chicago suburbs. And again, I welcome you for being a part of this information session and hope that maybe you make the choice to join us in the Fielding community.
Perfect. Thank you, Earl. And now we have a space for those of you who are attending live as well. If you would like to be able to introduce yourself, feel free to put in the chat, your name, your career, what draws you to earning a doctorate, and any questions, kind of initial questions you have coming into the program, and then what are you looking for within a doctoral program. So thank you if you're able to put something in the chat. And for those of you who are watching this recording, make sure to let us know a little bit about yourself when you reach out to admissions@fielding.edu. But with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead to the next slide here for talking a little bit more about the program and Fielding and our accreditation as well. So with that in mind, I'll pass it over back to you, Earl.
All right, Fielding Graduate University is a not-for-profit university. We are fully accredited. We also are accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, and also the Western Association of School Colleges, Senior College and University Commission. They are our regional accrediting body. So the program that you're looking at is fully accredited. Okay. Okay. I'm not exactly sure if my slides are advancing correctly, but Fielding was founded in 1974 by a group of innovative scholars who actually wanted to provide something different in terms of adult learning. And what they found is that there were these group of adult learners who were mid-career professionals, had very busy lives, but wanted to earn a graduate degree. However, at that time in 1974, there was no such thing as distance learning as we know it today, or as we know online learning today. So, this was considered to be innovative in their thinking and definitely ahead of the time during in terms of higher education. So they created this model of distance education that attracted and recruited mid-career professionals who didn't have time to go to campus, but definitely had the energy, the enthusiasm, and the interest in continuing their education at the graduate level. So the program that you are currently investigating, I would say, is the EdD Leadership for Change program. We are located in the School of Leadership Studies. The and Fielding actually has two schools if you think of them as schools. There are the School of Leadership Studies as well as the School of Psychology. Under the Leadership Studies School, we also have the PhD in Human Development. There's the PhD in Organizational Development and Change, the Masters of Arts in Organizational Development and Leadership, as well as a certificate in evidence-based coaching. So, what makes us unique? Well, your doctoral journey at Fielding actually gives you an opportunity to design your experience. We have a number of selected concentrations in which you can concentrate your degree, and we will talk about that in a minute. Also, you are able to engage in virtual learning, and which means you don't have to come to campus, as well as there are no required residencies that you have to attend. Now, that's a really big deal in my mind, because when I was getting my doctoral degree, we had required residencies, which meant that although we had busy lives and we were already professionals working in the field of education or social services, we had to go to these required residencies that lasted sometime a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks during the academic year. And you will find that that is still a current practice in many doctoral programs across the nation. However, we do not have a required residency. You don't have to take 2, 3, 4 weeks out of your life each year, academic year, to come to, per se, campus. There's a focus on the course and the projects in terms of what you care about, as well as you are able to choose research that matters to you. Now, let me pause there. Why is that important? Because in Traditional doctoral programs, the research that students often have to produce, which is your dissertation, is often driven by the interests of the faculty and the faculty's research agenda and their particular professional development needs. But here at Fielding, you are the driver of the research dissertation project. You decide what area you would like to study. You create the proposal for the project. You go out and do the investigation. You come back and report what you found. And the application, remember, we have an emphasis on the practitioner scholar model, and the application of how you will use your doctoral degree in practice. So it's not just all theoretical and nobody will ever know unless they read your dissertation what you actually did. You will actually be able to use this degree in such a way that you're able to contribute to a problem area of practice. Also, you get to choose your own dissertation chair and the members of your committee. Why is that important? Because you will spend at least a year to 2 years working on your dissertation project. And you need to have a committee that you feel comfortable with working with, people that you feel are on your side. And so and Zoe is shaking her head because she's experiencing this. And so people who are on your side, faculty who want to see you succeed, not necessarily faculty who are there to grandize their own agendas. So we have an emphasis on the faculty scholar practitioners. All of the faculty that are involved in the program are not just scholars in terms of writing for journals, but they actually are involved in problem practice. They're involved in the real practice. They may be doing consulting work for a large school district or for a large state organization, or they may be involved in literacy projects in the Appalachian Mountains. They are active themselves in their practice. So the expectation is that you would complete this doctoral degree in 3 years. Most traditional doctoral degree programs, it takes 4 to 8 years to complete. All righty? But here at Fielding, our program is designed in such a way that from day one, if you stick with the plan, you can complete your EdD in 3 years. And we create an integrated dissertation approach. What does that really mean? The integrated dissertation approach means that throughout all of your coursework, you're talking about dissertation. So by the time you get to the 3rd year or the end of your 2nd year of your program, you're ready to do your research. And people who are ready to do their research, they spend about 2 terms, which would be almost an academic year, completing their research and then graduating. Now, there is a sequence or sequencing method here. In a normal term, which is about 14 to 15 weeks, you will take 2 courses. However, the first term is a little different. In the first term, you take really 3 courses, but that's embedded in what we call the new student orientation, or in it, it depends. A lot of programs call it different things, but it's your new student orientation. It's your opportunity for us to get you on board. So you can actually move through this program in 3 years. So just to give you a little flavor or bird's eye view regarding the curriculum, there are foundational courses, and then there are the dissertational research writing courses. So what are my foundational courses? What do they look like? This program is designed to give you degree, authority, leadership in the area of leadership for change. So some of those courses at the foundational level, leadership theories, systems thinking, structural inequality and diversity, change theories, and storytelling for leaders. Okay? This will all make a lot of sense to you once you're in the program regarding why these are the foundational courses, because they all thread and link together and build your skills as a practitioner in terms of leadership for change. Then you have your dissertation research writing courses. And let me pause here. Most people are very nervous about writing, no matter whether you've got 2 master's degrees, 1 master's degree, or no master's degree. People are very nervous when they come into a doctoral program about their writing. And we know that. And so we pay attention to that and offer you a lot of support. One is through coursework, and then the other is through our writing center. So what does the coursework look like? You start off with critical reading and writing. What does critical reading and writing do? It helps you to prepare or to create or to embrace the skills and the abilities to make you a scholar, practitioner, writer. All right. Now, some of you have heard of this thing called APA that most of us fear. APA is something that you don't have to fear when you are in the critical reading and writing course, because they're supporting you and helping you to understand how to use APA for academic writing. Cultures of inquiry and research, those are just research courses in terms of preparing you for, are you going to use quantitative methodology, or are you going to use qualitative methodology in your research project, which is your dissertation? Remember that in any doctoral program, the capstone is the dissertation. So that's where you're trying to get to. Then there's research specializations, and then you're developing a research proposal, and then finally the dissertation writing. So that's how the curriculum looks from a bird's eye view. However, some of us already have done graduate level work, and we want to know if our graduate level work counts. Well, you can receive up to 12 credits of transfer for your graduate level work as long as it meets certain criteria. And if you decide to do this, you'll get other support from our academic counselor if you decide that you want to transfer credits. So you won't be out there by yourself in trying to figure out which courses transfer. But the course must be taken at a master's level within the past 8 years with a grade of B or better. That's pretty standard in most programs that accept a graduate level credit. You have to submit, though, the syllabi for the course. And so in addition to the transfer credit request that goes to the registrar, all right? And that, to me, probably would be the hardest thing to do, is to get a hold of the syllabi, all right? Which might mean that you have to reach back to some professors if you took some graduate level master's courses. And so you have to reach back and ask the professor if they can somehow provide you with the syllabi. Transfer credits will be awarded at the time of admission to the graduate program. Now, this is a bird's eye view regarding the recommended course plan. Now, what I want to say here is that we have laid this out in term 1, term 2, term 3. At Fielding, that's considered to be an academic year. So you have term one, term two, term three. Now I know that you would be coming in as a summer uh, uh, student or coming in under the summer. So your term one, term two would not line up exactly the way that I'm going to say it. But sometimes, in most situations, term one is considered to be fall, term two is your spring semester, and term three is your summer. All right. Now, under term one, there are Pacific courses. I mentioned that in year one, you have to do your foundations of doctoral study work, which comes in with the NSO, which is our new student orientation. You do get credit for that. It's 2 credit hours. And to be quite honest with you, you'll enjoy it because it's more social than anything else. Then there's leadership theory course in the critical reading and writing in the first academic term. Then in year one, systems thinking in term two, and cultures of inquiry and research design. And then term three, which would be the summer, would be structural inequality and diversity. And then you have your concentration courses, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let me pause on the concentration. Concentration, to create a concentration, you have to have so many recommended courses out of that concentration, which is really about 12 credit hours. However, concentrations are an option. So some people don't want the concentration. They just want the doctoral degree, the Doctor of Education in Leadership for Change and Education. I mean, leadership for change. But other people who don't want that, you don't have to do the concentration. That what you would do is pull from a menu of courses that you are interested in and come up with 12 elective hours. So rather than all of your 12 hours being in a concentrated area, you would have 12 credit hours over a series of different courses that you want, which are electives. Then there's years 2 and year 3. I won't go through this or read all of this to you, but as you can see, by year 3, you're working on the dissertation. And remember, I said the dissertation is the capstone. That's what makes you a doctor, is this original work that we call dissertation. So I've said a lot about the concentrations. So what do you mean by concentrations, Dr. Thomas? Well, we have the higher ed leadership concentration. That's usually appealing for people who are probably already connected to higher education in some way. They already work for an institution. Maybe they're teaching at a community college. They might be an academic advisor at a university. They may be working in enrollment and admissions. So they're interested in the higher ed leadership. K through 12, for people who are interested in that concentration, are often people that are already working within K through 12 or teacher education type settings. So they might be working for a state board of education, and maybe they're trying to move in terms of leadership roles in state educational agencies. Or they might be working as a staff development specialist in a K through 12 district. And so they're trying to create leadership skills in that K through 12 to further advance their K through 12 career. Then there's learning and development. Learning and development is that area out there called staff development in industry and businesses and nonprofit organizations. And they have this, and there's this big opportunity for you to, create professional development for staff. And so that's the learning and development area. So as you can see, these are our 3 main concentrations in the EdD program. However, there are some other concentrations that are offered in the School of Leadership Studies, but we don't necessarily highlight those for the EdD program, but they are available to you. And once you join our community, then you would find out what those other concentrations are. But these are really the concentrations that are, I guess you might say, the most frequently selected concentrations for the EdD students. All right, so I'm just going to let you kind of browse at this PowerPoint for higher ed, leadership, concentration. I won't go through the courses, but just to give you sort of a bird's eye view of what those courses or course titles look like. And these courses are 4 credit hours each. So that's why you only need 12 credit hours. It comes out to be 12 credit hours for the concentration, which means you take 3 courses in the concentration. Here's the K through 12 teacher education concentration. Here's the learning and development one that kind of fits into nonprofit organizations, businesses. I mean, it really fits all over. Okay. All right, so that gives you a view of the concentrations. Or create your own or another fielding concentration. Like I said, this is an EdD program that tries to design itself to support you as a learner, not to support us as faculty and staff. So some people opt for coaching. There's a big coaching concentration here. We don't have the courses here, but there's a coaching concentration. There's also an evidence-based coaching certificate that some people end up earning as a part of their doctoral studies. There's one in creativity and longevity, inclusive leadership for social justice, media tech, somatics, sustainability leadership. So there's a lot here. But as I stated, the 3 that I highlighted are the ones that are most frequently talked about or selected by the EdD students. So what's distinctive about our curriculum? There's leadership for change theory. We become the leader you want to be. Of course, that's why you're here, because you want to become a leader or advance your leadership skills. Social justice emphasis around systems thinking. And then you start working on your dissertation from day 1. That's really good. And I will tell you, right here, I was working with this group of students, and we were in Austin, Texas, working together. And we were at a research intensive, what they call a research intensive. And every one of those people there, you can't see all their faces, but every one of those people there have graduated. So that tells you how effective that, yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. Then there's scholarly writing development and support, which, as I stated earlier, that scholarly writing part is the part that most people kind of fear. Can I really produce or write that real scholarly original research paper? Faculty engagement, there's a lot of faculty engagement. You'll get faculty engagement and support throughout. Faculty are always available to you by email, as well as some people or some faculty will provide their personal cell phone number. You also have a lot of engagement and support from our support staff by email, etc. Now, what's also unique about our faculty engagement is that you know the faculty by name, they work with you, and they know you by name, as well as 80% of the courses are taught by full-time faculty. Why is that important? That's very critical as you look at choosing a doctoral program. Most of the doctoral programs now, they're in the in the atmosphere or the ethos are designed in such a way that they don't have full-time faculty. And because they don't have full-time faculty, sometimes students get lost in the shuffle because part-time faculty come and go. And so it's hard to make a sustainable connecting relationship over 3 or 4 years when the faculty are coming and going constantly. In other words, it's a revolving door. You will not find the revolving door effect in our Fielding EdD program because 80% of the faculty are there full time, which means that they are concentrated on your growth, on your development, and on you succeeding. That is our mission, is for you to succeed. When you succeed, we all succeed. And so I really, really, really uh, encourage you to really, really, no matter what program you select, to really, really think about the support that you will need from the faculty and whether or not the faculty are available to you. In an EdD program such as ours, the faculty are available to you. There are small classes and real-time engagement. Small classes, what does that mean? Usually 6 or less students are in a group class. Now, if you, like in one of those concentrations, if you're the only one that student that wants this concentration, then that doesn't mean that you don't have to do the concentration because there's no other students to create a group. That means that now we work with you individually. It almost becomes like an independent contract between you and a faculty member to complete those concentration courses. So again, you're fully supported. Of course, there's shared passion and flexible, engaging classes. Now, what does flexible, engaging classes mean? We understand that you're working professionals. For many of you who are mid-career professionals who are obviously busy, as well as you have other responsibilities outside of academia and work. So we try and make this as flexible as we can. Now, there are many approaches to that flexibility in terms of classes. What's the expectation? Normally, a class meets by Zoom about every 2 or 3 weeks. Kind of depends on the faculty member and as well as the content. However, that 2 to 3 week meeting date is often kind of flexible. Some faculty will put a meeting date out initially, but then when the group meets, they say, is this a good day for us? Maybe instead of Thursday, maybe we should meet on Monday. And so you kind of have consensus or agreement. Yeah, we think Monday's better. Or some people will say, or some faculty say, well, to me, the flexibility of that doesn't work well, but we want to make it accessible in another way. So the faculty member might say, well, I'm going to offer this class on Saturday morning because I know on Saturday morning, that's usually a pretty good time for most of the students. And so the class will be offered on Saturday morning. So my point here is that it's flexible enough that you don't have to kind of give up your other responsibilities to be able to engage in the classes. And when I say other responsibilities, I mean things like work and family and friends and community. So, how do we learn? We learn together. And this is definitely a journey that's together. Because when you join the EdD program, you have joined the EdD program and the Fielding community. Therefore, there's a new student orientation, and we use a learning management system called Moodle. All right. Some of you might be familiar with it, and others may not. So You'll, by the time you get enrolled, you will know what Moodle is. There's a global session that is optional attendance. Global session is when we come together as a school at a location, and often there are workshops, meetings, as well as graduation. And so it's an opportunity to kind of like get that cross fertilization from people that maybe you may have not been in class with, but now you meet them at the global session, you find out that there's commonality there, and all of a sudden, you've got a career professional friend forever. So those are often annually, and they're offered in different locations. Sometimes we're in Cincinnati, sometimes we're in Washington, D.C., sometimes we're in California. Just kind of depends. And then we have regional clusters that are at the option of the program level. It's not a university, like the global session's a university event. The regional clusters are like your EdD program. And so we do those. What are regional clusters? Say there's 4 people and they all live within 100 miles of each other, and they just want to get together on a Saturday and Sunday in a central location and talk about how do you write a dissertation proposal, and they want a faculty member there to help them. That's a regional cluster. So they're fluid, they come and they go. Then there's research intensives, which are different than clusters. Research on intensives are intentional, designed, kind of intensive 3 or 4 day workshops that are optional. You don't have to come if you don't want to, but they're optional, and they're located in cities that we call, or that are affordable. So we're not going to go to large, big hotels in New York, which I love, but we can't go there for for research intensive. We're going to be maybe in a small little town outside of Dallas, or outside of Houston, or something like that, where everything's very affordable. Your hotel room for 2 nights or 3 nights won't cost you a fortune, and that kind of thing. And then there's the research. So that's your research intensive. Again, it's optional. We offer those maybe once a year, the research intensive, sometimes twice, but normally about 1 time a year. The library and librarian support. And I have to say that from our alumni survey, the library and the support is usually ranked the highest by the alumni. The library support outranks the support that they get from faculty. And so that's really good for a doctoral program, because one of the things that helps to create a strong doctoral program is that they have to have a well-functioning library. There's no way you can do a dissertation, a doctoral dissertation, and not have a well-functioning library. So we rank high with our alumni regarding library. Then there's academic writing support as well. So let's just briefly think about, well, what are some of the roles of the alumni? Well, some of our alumni work as K-12 superintendents. Some of them have gone on to be directors of education in different organizations, and that's throughout nonprofit organizations, universities, business and industry, healthcare. So they've gone on to be directors of education, higher ed and organizational consultants. Many of them have gone on to be organizational consultants. Many of them work in community colleges and university president and senior leadership. And then we have some of our alumni who go on to work for nonprofits and NGOs, as well as government and public policy leaders and learning and development consultant leaders. And right now, if you were to go and look kind of like at the market for where this type of degree can take you, there's a lot of opportunity right now as learning and development consultants and leaders, because in many different organizations, because they're really looking for people who know how to develop people in a organized, concerted, professional development approach. Then you can also check our alumni on LinkedIn. All right, I'm going to turn this over for Ignacio to talk to you about application requirements.
Perfect. Thank you, Earl, for giving a comprehensive view of the program and a lot more information about our alumni. So if you're interested in being able to start for this EdD program, here's some information that you'll need to know for starting for summer of 2026 and also being able to start for a later term at Fielding. The application deadline for summer of 2026 is actually going to be on March 26th itself. The slide deck here, the information will be updated so you can have those up-to-date information, and it's on our website as well. In addition to that, if you are looking to start for the program, one thing to note is that we do rolling admissions at Fielding. So whether you're looking to start for summer of 2026, fall of 2026, or spring of 2027, or even later, we do provide admissions decisions to completed applications in about 2 weeks or less. So as long as the application is submitted by the application deadline or before, you can get an admissions decision sooner than that. So if that is something of interest, definitely go ahead and start your application sooner than later. So that way you can get a decision sooner and then also get funding in place and before the start of classes. That's one thing we want to make sure our students are aware of, is because sometimes funding, if you're looking to get financial aid, if you're looking to get employer reimbursement, or you're looking to have another organization be involved with your funding, that is something to keep in mind in regards to being able to have it settled and have time to get it all worked out. One thing to note too is that we do have the required new student orientation as well in early May, and that is something that you will be able to be involved in for a full day to be able to get oriented to the program, introduce yourself to staff and faculty, so that way you are onboarded into the program. And then another thing to note too is that the first term tuition payment would also be due in early May as well, so May 8th. And that's when you would pay the full term tuition amount by that date. And either if you're paying a lump sum payment or if you're looking to enroll in a monthly payment plan. Fielding does offer a no interest payment plan available to students as well. So that's something we'll talk about in the next slide over. But for now, the application requirements do require that students to submit an official transcript of a conferred bachelor's or master's transcripts from a regionally accredited U.S. college or university. Or if you have a degree or degrees that you'd like to have considered for the application that were earned from a college or university outside the United States, then you'll need to have a course-by-course evaluation completed with cumulative GPA from a NACES agency. We'll be sending more information via email afterwards, so you can check this out. And if you are watching this recording, you'll be able to check out more information to get your transcript evaluation be completed by checking out the international applicants section on our website. As part of the application, each of these documents that you see listed here, they'll have full application instructions in the application portal itself. And that application can be accessed by clicking on the Apply Now button at the very top of our website, fielding.edu, and that'll take you to the application portal to get started. But just to kind of let you know, you'll need to submit your resume, highlighting your professional and educational experiences. Also include your statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is akin to other universities calling it a statement of intent. Kind of like, what are you looking to do with the doctoral program? Where are you at this stage in your professional, personal life? And how does the outcomes of the program align with your professional, personal goals? This is kind of just showing the admissions committee, like, how are you best aligned to the program? And how does this program align with what you're looking to do? And then last but not least, the reflective essay. The reflective essay is a space for you to reflect on your personal academic experiences and share a little bit more to a prompt that's included in the application portal, just to be able to give a little bit more context to your experiences professionally, and then also your goals and other information you have to share with the admissions committee as well. As part of the application itself, we do have a $75 application fee. However, we do waive this if you attend a live information session or watch a recording like this one. So if you are watching this recording, make sure to email admissions@fielding.edu. For those of you attending this call right now, I have gone into our system here, and with the email that you used to register for this information session, I have waived the application fee. So you should not be prompted for payment when you submit an application for summer or fall of 2026, or even later than that. If you are prompted, let us know. We'll be happy to resolve that for you as a thank you, because we know that you are busy professionals. And so to take time out of your day, about an hour or so, to be able to watch this, it means a lot to be able to have you engage with us and learn more. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and share a little bit more and finish off the presentation here with information about tuition and financial aid. So if you're looking to start for summer of 2026, the tuition first term tuition payment deadline is May 8th, so keep that date in mind. And then tuition is charged by $8,960 per term, and there's a $10 per term student activity fee. So that's something you need to take into account when paying tuition by term. And tuition is reduced by 30% once you reach the stage of advancement to doctoral candidacy, and typically that is when you have completed all your coursework and your dissertation proposal has been approved. That tuition reduction is in place until you complete your dissertation itself. As Earl mentioned, if you are completing the program in 3 years with the sequencing that we have laid out, then you're looking at a total cost of tuition with fees included. The current tuition rates $72,666. So if you are looking to be able to cover the cost of tuition, we have different forms of payment to be able to utilize. In terms of being able to apply for the program and have your FAFSA be considered, FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. One thing to note too is that if you're looking to start for fall of 2026, spring of 2027, or summer of 2027, you're going to want to fill out the 2026 to 2027 FAFSA by the application deadline. If you're looking to start for summer of 2026, then you're going to want to submit your 2025 through 2026 FAFSA. I'll make sure to update the slides so that way you have this information there and a follow-up email so you can make sure you fill out the right FAFSA. Because if you fill out the wrong FAFSA for the term that you're starting, our financial aid team will not be able to create a financial aid award package for you to review if you're offered admission to the program and if you're looking to use these funding methods. If you're also looking to be considered for scholarships at Fielding, you're going to want to submit the FAFSA as well. That will be used to determine financial need and will be used by our financial aid team to be able to award you scholarships for the first term and for later as you go through the program. Another thing to note too is we do accept veterans benefits. So if you have Chapter 31, Chapter 33, or Chapter 35 benefits, and you're looking to use either a portion of them or the full benefits to cover the cost of tuition at Fielding, let us know and we'll be happy to provide you more information and documentation needed to be able to utilize your benefits with Fielding. Another thing to note too is if you are looking to have your employer, another organization, or a sponsorship of some sort be able to cover a portion or a cost of the term of here at Fielding, the tuition amounts, then you can have your employer let us know what documentation is needed, what your policy is for your employer to be able to utilize a professional development fund or tuition reimbursement plan. We know that sometimes employers might need certain information, certain documentation, a PO, an invoice, and such. So let us know ahead of time if this is something that's applicable to your situation so we can make sure we can best support you that way. And last but not least, you can also make payments for tuition, either by a lump sum payment by the tuition payment deadline each term, or be able to enroll in a no interest payment plan to cover the cost of tuition in 4 equal payments over the course of the term. Last but not least, if you are looking to discuss your financial aid, funding sources, and such, definitely connect with our financial aid office even before deciding to apply. They can be reached via phone, via email, and by appointment on Zoom like this, so that we can connect with them and learn more about what your funding sources are, so that way you have a financial net in place to be able to cover the cost of tuition as you go through the program. Last but not least, I mentioned that was the last slide. Actually, this is the last slide. This is our contact information, so you can also reach out to us personally. If you want to talk a little bit more about your goals, aligning with the program, admissions, enrollment, financial aid, and such, general questions about those, I'd be happy to be your point of contact and be reached for that. My follow-up email will also include my scheduling calendar, so we can schedule some one-on-one time to discuss through any questions you might have. And also on the website, there's a space where you can schedule appointments directly with me if you go through the admissions advisor's contact information. And last but not least, if you want to connect with Earl, talk a little bit more about the EdD program, the support you receive as a student, and just be able to dive further into leadership roles and such, you'll be able to connect with him as well. And then he'll be able to copy me if he has any question, if you have any questions that he's not able to answer, or if I'm not able to answer, I'll copy him on there as well. We work really closely together. But with that in mind, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this information session and for viewing this one. We'll go ahead and stop the recording here.